Good morning. Good morning, MG family. This is Alicia. We are here on our YouTube channel, the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of Michigan's YouTube channel here, to do our Saturday morning, maybe about 20-minute, maybe not quite that long today, mindful breathing practice. We've been doing these the last few Saturdays. We'll definitely be having one next week as well. So, if you're here today, consider joining us next Saturday for what might be the last of our 20-minute Saturday morning series, but we'll see how that evolves. Let's see. So let's just get started today without any further talking, I guess. I did want to just say, I've shared before, I'm here because I'm the director of the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of Michigan. I'm also a certified Tai Chi Easy practice leader through the Healer Within Foundation. And I've before just said, if you want to learn more about the Healer Within Foundation, go check out their website. There's a ton of info. You could just Google search Healer Within Foundation and learn quite a bit about it. And what I lead is the Tai Chi Easy 5, which is a 5-form or 5-movement Tai Chi group of movements that have been modified by the man who founded the Healer Within Foundation. And he chose those after analyzing not many, but it sounds like he analyzed the 4 main types of Tai Chi that were very popular here in the United States back when there was a big influx of Eastern medicine interest back in the later 20th century. And so he created this Tai Chi Easy 5 program that I'm certified in, that we do more of over on Facebook. We do a lot of the mindful breathing here. But what the mindful breathing is sort of a part of is another type of energy medicine or energy work called Qigong. So you may have seen the word Qigong, maybe have seen it and not even realized what it was, because it starts with a Q, which isn't necessarily what we would think when we think of the word Qigong, but it's Qigong. Don't know that it's here in this book, but I did want to show you the Healer Within book that was written by the man who started the Healer Within Foundation and formed the Tai Chi Easy 5. His name is Roger Yanka. I'll flash this a little bit closer just for those who do want to check out the cover. If you are interested in this book, you can find it online. You can find it on the Healer Within Foundation website. Contact MGMI and we can send you a copy as well if you want to check it out. You can email us through our website, mg-mi.org, or you can email us info@mg-mi.org. But I say that because when I think about Qigong and how mindful breathing kind of is part of that, I was reminded about the 4 essential methods of Qigong. And it's here in the book. He talks pretty early on, actually, about the 4 essential methods. And essentially, all we need to do to be able to unleash our inner healer within, or to convince our bodies or to get our bodies started by releasing some of these natural things that can help us heal, our inner healing elixir. We just need to apply these 4 essential methods. And we've talked a bit about all of them. Breath practice is, of course, what we're going to be doing today. But that goes hand in hand with deep relaxation or meditation, which we can talk a little bit more about, but that kind of ties right in with our breath practice. It also requires gentle movement of the body, excuse me, which we do when we're breathing in as we just stretch up gently, exhaling as we let that neck fall to one side. We might even take that opposite arm and throw it over the head here while we get a stretch through the side, and then we might inhale as we come back up to center, and then exhale as we relax down that other way and let this arm stretch. So just some of that simple, gentle movement is one of our essential methods. And then finally, one that we've talked a little bit about, but haven't necessarily practiced specifically, is self-applied massage. We've talked a bit about it just because I've mentioned that, while you're stretching, if you notice that there's an area of tension or something, you can use, the fingertips or palm of a hand and find that area of tension and spend some breath. So while you're breathing in and breathing out, you can use your own appendages here to sort of apply some pressure. one of the things that really made me think, wow, um, I, I wonder if some of the self-applied massage could benefit some of the symptoms that MG patients experience from some of their medications. One of the stories in the book talks about a woman. Forgive me, there was a band right there that just started, so hopefully that wasn't too startling, but that said it away. So one of the things that that I was thinking was, oh, perhaps some of the self-applied massage could help some of the medication side effects. And I say that because one of the stories in this book talks about a woman who had lived with some gastrointestinal issues for 20 years following the birth of one of her children. And after just one practice session at a workshop that she went to with Rodrianka, they were working on self-applied massage, and she was doing some things in the abdominal area. And she said that evening and that next day were the first time in over 20 years that she hadn't been experiencing some of those gastrointestinal problems that she'd been having, and acid reflux and things. And I'm sure that one session and that night and day difference is maybe an exception. That might not be the rule, or might not be something that we can all anticipate having such quick results doing. But to me, it reminded me of my own experience using some of the Healer Within Foundation methods and some of the Qigong principles for some of my own ailments. And I think I've spoken about my own gait issue with how I was walking. I had almost a limp sometimes because of the way that I was moving the muscles all down my leg, all the way through my toes. But in a relatively short period of time, I was able to fix some of those gait issues and make it easier for me just to be able to walk more comfortably, so that I wasn't getting knee pain, back pain, ankle pain just by walking. So I thought during our mindful breathing today that we're getting to right now, we could also incorporate some of the self-applied massage methods. So I'm actually going to stand up for some of these, and we're going to work a little bit on that abdominal area, and we'll talk a little bit about how we might be able to do some self-applied massage there. But before we stand up, if you're already standing, great. I'm seated in a patio chair. It's got arms, but today for our mindful breathing, that's okay. So I'm sat all the way back in the chair. My back's not leaning against the chair. It's a patio chair, so my posture isn't that great if I do that. And so I'm sitting all the way back, so my whole, bottom is fully on the chair, all the way to my knees pretty much. But I'm sitting up as straight as I can, because that's going to allow me to take my best breath in and my fullest and steadiest exhale. My feet are flat on the ground. It's easy to default to crossing the legs or something, but I find that I get a better breath if I keep both feet flat on the ground, so that my knees are at about a 90-degree angle sitting here at the chair. And I'm going to start by breathing in through my nose steadily and evenly. And I'm going to try and get that air as low into the lungs or even into the belly if I can get it there. And I'm going to fill myself full of air with that inhale, and then I'm going to try and steadily exhale so that the air is just leaving evenly. I'm going to try and exhale maybe even a little bit longer than I had just been breathing in. It might help if I count as I breathe in. A lot of people count to a 4, maybe a 5, but whatever number you get to is great. And then as I exhale, I try to count twice as high. So if I count to 4 as I breathe in, I might try and count to 8 as I breathe out. So I've taken a few breaths, those last couple of breaths were just a little bit longer than the first couple, which is good. For me, that's kind of what I'm going for when I'm doing some of my breathing practices, is settling in at first to just what is natural and what my body is able to do today with my deep mindful breathing. But if I'm able to increase those breaths, make those breaths last a little bit longer, then to me, that's a win. So now I'm going to stand up and we're going to practice some of that breathing again from standing and see if maybe we can get that air even deeper into the lungs here from standing. And then we're also going to start to incorporate a little bit of the self-applied massage here in the abdomen and belly area. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And then you guys can kind of take that however it helps you today. And keep in mind too, I'm going to be doing some self-applied massage here in the belly and abdominal area, but we can certainly use the same principles all along our arms or all along our legs, from seated or lying down. These are also perfectly fine. So even this abdominal massage, if you're lying on the bed or on the couch, this is a great thing that you can do. So I used to do this in the mornings, actually, when I was doing a lot of my practice, because I thought, well, I'm going to get my digestive tract rolling for the day. And I can't say that it made a night and day difference. I wasn't looking forward to at the time. But there's certainly plenty of stories in the Healer Within book and anecdotally online that say, hey, this practice really did make a huge difference for whatever it was that I was trying to feel better about, which is really a huge part of the mindfulness part of the practice. So I'm going to start. We like to think of, or I like to use the belly button as kind of a middle of the clock position. So the belly button is kind of where the clock hands are coming off here. And we're making a circle all around the belly from that belly button. So I'm going to start right here at 12 o'clock. And I'm going to take my best breath in, just holding. I'm going to use my two fingers, my pointer finger and my middle finger. And I'm going to use the fingertips of both of those fingers. And I'm going to hold those right at 12 o'clock. And as I breathe in, I'm not really applying much pressure at all. But as I exhale, I'm going to go ahead. And as I breathe out, I'm just going to push gently into that 12 o'clock position. You can kind of see how my back is bending a little bit. I'm sort of incorporating like a spinal twist as I breathe out and push into that area. And I don't want to cause any pain. It's just some gentle pressure. And as I'm applying gentle pressure here, I'm also making small circular motions. Excuse me. Small circular motions about the size of a quarter right around this little 12 o'clock area. I might even spend a couple of breaths here, because if there is any tension or anything that I'm like, oh yeah, I am working something out there in that muscle, then I might stay there for a couple of breaths and kind of think about that. But when I'm ready, on my next inhale, I'm going to release that pressure from there, and I'm going to move over to 1 o'clock on my clock. I guess actually I just moved over to 11 o'clock. So let's actually move over to 1 o'clock here. I'm going to move over to 1 o'clock. And as I exhale again, I'm going to add some pressure. I'm going to make some small circular motions here in the belly. I'll inhale as I release that pressure a little bit. Move over to 2 o'clock. Exhale as I apply that pressure, making those small circular motions. Now, I've just been doing circular motions clockwise again, but I imagine you can kind of change that up, or you can decide if you want to go counterclockwise instead. I think you could probably also choose to go backwards around the clock if you wanted to, but I'm just going to go around with our clock. So we're here at 2. On my next inhale, I'm going to release that pressure a little. Move over to 3 o'clock. Breathe out as I press into 3 o'clock. Release that pressure as I breathe in. Move down to 4. Take an extra breath here at 4 as I move to 5. Inhaling, releasing that pressure. I guess this is more like 5 here. Pressing as I exhale fully. Breathing in, move to 6. Breathe in as we release that pressure. Breathe out as we move to 7. Move to 8. Breathe in. Move to 9. 10. 11. Breathe in. 12. So we did a full clock circle here, centered around the belly button. And we can always go back around that same circle. We can go backwards, so going back, 11, 10, 9, back around the clock counterclockwise. We can also decide to move a little bit closer. So now we're going to make our circle around the belly button a little smaller. Let's do that again, but this time let's go counterclockwise. And this is just what I'm doing for practice today. So if you're following along with me and you're starting to go counterclockwise here and you're saying, I liked going clockwise around my clock better. By all means, make that adjustment. This practice is 110% about what your body wants and what your body is telling you, and learning as we breathe to listen to what the body is trying to say right now so that we can make those adjustments right now to be taking our best breaths and feel most comfortable. So let's do one more circle. This one's a little smaller around the belly button. So whereas before we had made this big circle around the belly button, this time we're gonna take that in about an inch. So that's a smaller circle now. And this time I'm going counterclockwise, but if you wanna go clockwise again, please do. But again, I'm gonna start at noon as I breathe in and exhale, pressing gently into that 12 o'clock spot, adding some circular motions. I'm gonna go clockwise again with the circular motions. Well, I say that as I go counterclockwise, so silly. Breathing in as I release that pressure. I'm actually gonna press down again here at noon. Breathing in, now I'm gonna move over to 11 o'clock. Exhale as we press down gently. Breathing in, moving over to 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock. 'Inhaling deeply as we move here to 6 o'clock. Exhale as we press. Breathing in, I move to 5 o'clock here. So we completed another circle there around our belly button area, or that space behind which our life force energy sits. And by all means, we can continue to make that circle smaller and smaller around the belly button. Do some spirals all the way with some self-applied massage right around that belly button if you'd like. And that feels right, please do continue to do so. I'm going to bring this chair back here, and we're going to round out our practice this morning with just a couple more seated. I'm choosing to do them seated, but by all means, if you're standing, feel free to stay that way or stay lying down. But just a couple more mindful, thoughtful, measured breathing practices to round out today's, which actually has gone a little over 20 minutes already, because I chatted so much at the beginning. So thanks for bearing with me. So we had alluded to this a little bit at the beginning, but that 1-2 breathing, where we're gonna count our inhale, and then we're gonna try and exhale twice as long. We've done some of that already, and that's a great practice. So if that works for you, by all means, feel free to do that as we continue today. But I'm gonna put a little bit of a variation on that. It's something that I was reminded of by a webinar from the MGFA, or the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of America, the national organization. They had a great talk a few weeks back from somebody who was just talking about their own little mindful breathing tricks. And she reminded me of one that is kind of similar to 1-2 breathing, but we're adding a little element in the center here. We're going to give a count to our inhale. So let's say we breathe into a count of 4. We're then going to hold our breath for a count of 4. So the same as our inhale. And we don't want to hold our breath so that we feel as though we're about to pass out, or we don't want to hold it tightly so that it's an uncomfortable way to hold the breath. We want to just be able to sit with our lungs and bellies as full of air as we comfortably can for that same amount of time that we breathe in. So we breathe into a count of 4. We sit comfortably holding that air for a count of 4. And then we're going to try and exhale to a count of 8. So we're breathing in for a count, holding our breath for that same count, and exhaling twice as long as the inhale. So this first one, I'll count, and I'm going to count to 4 for the inhale, 4 to hold the breath, and 8 for the exhale. And I'm going to keep tempo with my hands here, but if your tempo is a little bit different, please feel free to ignore. And I'm going to count aloud for the first one. And then we'll do maybe 2 or 3 more where I'll just keep tempo here, but not necessarily count aloud. All right? So we're settling in to our comfortable place in our seats, or lying down or standing. And in just a second here, we're going to breathe in. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. I'm going to count aloud, and then we'll do 2 or 3 breaths where I'll keep tempo here, but won't be counting aloud. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Well, I hope that this slightly longer than 20-minute practice was good for everyone who joined us today. I do appreciate you joining us here on YouTube for our mindful breathing practices for the Myasthenia Gravis Foundation of Michigan. We'll be here next Saturday for sure, around 10:15 a.m. for about a 20-minute practice. And then after that, I guess I'm not really sure what our schedule is going to look like, but please do stay tuned. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of future videos. And also, if you're not on our mailing list, head on over to mg-mi.org and get signed up on our contact form so that we make sure that you're informed of everything we have going on, more than just what's on YouTube. Also, if you're here on YouTube with us, you might be interested in joining us for our annual patient educational conference event that's happening October 1st through the 9th. Head over to mg-mi.org, get signed up for that contact list because we've got some emails coming out about that event in just the next couple of weeks. It's free to register. We're going to have at least 8 different professional education, or rather professionals educating patients on different aspects of MG and how we can live our best lives as we navigate chronic autoimmune neuromuscular disease. Thank you again for joining me. I'm Alicia, and we look forward to seeing you here in the future. Have a great weekend.